G'day folks, welcome to another edition of Talking SANFL. My name is Andrew Hayes. This is Daniel Menzel. Menz, let's get straight into it. Round 16 done and dusted. We'll jump into the iPerform Insight. Let's start with Nord and South. Plenty to play for both sides. This game in particular, a little bit more than football.
Yeah, it was. It was obviously an emotional day at Norwood with Nick Loudon obviously passing away a couple of weeks ago, and they was their first game they played since that happened. The bye was last week, so a special day for the Redlegs to get a win there in a tough day. South came home really strong, kicked 6 goals in the last term, but couldn't quite get the job done. That South season, unfortunately, over when it comes to finals. They were still technically and mathematically alive, but another disappointing loss for South Adelaide.
We'll go to the Ponderosa now. Central's taking on Sturt. No one likes playing over at Elizabeth. We both know that firsthand. So this was a big opportunity for Centrals to knock off a really good side. We'll probably speak about this a little bit later on, but didn't quite get the job done. Full credit to Sturt though. Yeah,
it was full credit to Sturt. A really important win. It keeps them consolidated in second position on the table, and what it does is it still gives them a chance to win the minor premiership, which is rather incredible with how good Glenelg's season's been. But a good win there by 4 points. A couple of really close games on the Saturday. Was finished off with the Port Glenelg game, which was also a really good game. Port Adelaide playing some great footy. We've talked about them this season and their improvement, and they took it up to the Bays, a 9-point loss, 8 goals 9, 57 to 9, 12, 66.
The Crows and West Adelaide. This wasn't a surprising result. Pretty one-sided for the Crows.
Yeah, it was, although West Adelaide come in and kicked the first 3 goals. Yep. But then from there, it was all Adelaide. They kicked 9 of the next 10 goals to finish the first half, and they've done it this season, the Crows. They have no issue with piling on goals, and they did that again here to convincingly win this game by 38 points.
Next game and the last game of the round, Eagles taking on North Adelaide. There's a lot going on at Woodville West Torrens. They'll need a new coach for next year. And North Adelaide need to win this to keep in touch with the finals. Yeah,
really important game for North Adelaide in particular because, as you mentioned, it's a game they should win and have to win to stay in that top 5, and they did. They were 15-point winners over the Eagles, who were gallant throughout the day, but again, just the turnovers are really hurting the Eagles boys, and North Adelaide a good win, which it keeps them in 5th position. And we'll take a look at the table now as we put it up on the screen, and you'll see there at the top of the table, Glenelg still standalone on top of the table, but Sturt, they're within touching distance. They're only a game back. Adelaide then in 3rd position, but where it is interesting is Port Adelaide 8 and 8, North Adelaide 8 and 8, and Central 7 and 9. All 3 of those sides could miss the top 5.
Yep.
So Central's take on North Adelaide this week, massive game for both sides, and then Central's take on Port Adelaide the following week. Port's got South Adelaide this week, so it's very interesting. It still could come down to the last game where Central's take on Port Adelaide out at the Ponderosa.
So the other thing to think about as well is in terms of locking in a spot in the top 5, Port Adelaide will probably get stronger towards the end of the season because they're expecting more people to come back in the AFL side. But yeah, you love a race for the 5th spot. It's intriguing, isn't it?
Oh, it is. It really is intriguing. And you do, because Port Adelaide, they take on South this week. If they beat them, then that is finals locked up for them. They are in. And then comes down to North Adelaide, who take on Centrals, but then play Sturt the following week. So there is a possibility that if the Dogs beat North Adelaide this week, if they don't, they're done. The Dogs, they can't get past North Adelaide. But if they do, there's a possibility it's going to come down to percentage in the last round of the year, and it might be who loses by less in the last game potentially, which would be rather incredible. And at the bottom of the table, West Adelaide, they play Norwood this week. If Norwood are able to win this game, West Adelaide will win their 5th straight wooden spoon.
There you go. There's a lot to play for there at Richmond. All right, time now for the SANFL summary. Thanks to Rejuvenate Massage and Fitness. Moment of the week, Menz. Let's talk about this. Obviously, a very, very emotional day at Coopers with Norwood taking on South Adelaide. This was just, how do you describe it? An unbelievable situation in a football club, it was a sad time for Norwood.
It's a sad time. You don't want to see, obviously, anyone pass away at your football club, let alone a player who's in their early 20s, and a really difficult time for the family and for the footy club, but I think they've handled themselves really well. That they do things really well down at Norwood, and a really emotional day, and they got out the blocks early, which you never know when you go into these games how you'll respond. Yep. But they were really good, Norwood, and a good win there to cap off the day.
And of course, it does open up a different conversation about emotions and mental health and everything that comes with that. But Yes, so obviously our thoughts with Nord. Still a very, very difficult time and will be for months to come. So absolutely our thoughts with the Redlegs. Talking points, Dogs 20-point lead at 24 minutes into the last quarter.
Yep.
Sturt comes back and gets the job done. It's a good combination of, I'm sure a lot of young Dogs players will learn from that situation, but gee, Sturt, to be able to come back in that situation, that would give you a lot of belief heading towards the finals.
It definitely would. They've done that on a number of occasions this year. They did it at 2 Centrals at Wigan Oval earlier in the season. They've done it to West Adelaide a few times. So they've showed that they can pile on the score if they need it, which has been important. It's probably been their growth this year, the Double Blues. But for the Dogs, this is one that will probably sit here in a couple of weeks' time and go, they just missed. And this is probably the one they just missed on. It's a bad loss. 20 points up with effectively 5 minutes to go at home. This one might be the one that really cost them this season and finals this year.
Start of the week, we always talk about Glenelg and probably McBean and Hosey and these sort of numbers that the big boys put up. But gee, Lockie Gallant, another bag, he's on fire.
He is on fire. He kicked 6 on the weekend. He's kicked 34 goals from just 13 games this year. So he goes level on the Ken Farmer table into 3rd position with Josh Hone and Reynolds as well from Glenelg. So having a really good year, he's going to play the 15 games you would think, and then finals for them. Team of the year, he probably has to make it, doesn't he?
Well, I think so. Based on those numbers, they're quite incredible. All right, let's get into our top sport tips and predictions. Round 16, we've got 2 rounds to go. Credit Stu, Menz, you're on fire last time.
Yeah.
And geez, you're seeing the finish line. That's what's happening.
I opened up a nice gap. I haven't been in front all year. 2 rounds to go. I thought I'd pull out 5 from 5, and you just unfortunately missed on 3 to go 2 out of 5, which gives me a 3-tip lead with only 10 games to go. It's going to be interesting to see how you pull that back. But I think what we'll do is I'll tip first. So I'll give you the opportunity to go with me if you like, which would be a bold strategy, or potentially tip against me. Now, you don't need to tip all 5 against me. You only need to get 3 back over 2 weeks.
Right.
So there might be 1 or 2 games there where I'd be quite surprised if you went against me, but it's your call. So
you're right. Very interesting strategy if I did pick the same tips as you. Given I'm trying to pick it back.
That would
really
be
interesting strategy.
You really back yourself in next week to go a little bit different. But we'll start with South Adelaide taking on Port Adelaide. This game is at Noarlunga. Down at Flinders University Stadium. So I am guessing that you will not be picking the same as me because this is more of a line ball game. I'm going to go with the team that you said is going to be healthier in the AFL, which is Port Adelaide. I'm going to tip Port Adelaide. I think if Port Adelaide win this game, they make finals this year in the SANFL, which is going to be important for the AFL Footy Club as well and that depth. So I think Port Adelaide will be up and they'll win this game.
Yeah, I can't go against you for the sake of it, trying to get one back. I'm going to go with Port Adelaide as well because Travis Boak comes back in, someone's going to drop out. There could be 1 or 2 extras that go down to Noarlunga, so Port too strong for me.
So both with Port there. North Adelaide takes on Centrals. This is the biggest game of the year to finish the season. The last 2 rounds to go. This will decide 5th position. Now, if North win this game, they are in finals. Centrals will not be able to jump on top of them. But if Centrals win it, it makes it such an interesting last round of the season. I think that North at Prospect, they were good against the Eagles on the weekend. They're getting their players back. I think they'll win this game.
This is the one. This is the one we're going to go in a different direction. I'm going to say the Dogs.
You know they haven't won away from home this year.
Well,
except
they're due.
for a West Adelaide.
Well, maybe they're due, aren't they?
No, you're right. They are.
The season's on the line.
It is. No, it's a good call. Season on the line for both teams. So I've gone North. You've gone Centrals there.
Yep.
Be interesting to see if you go the same direction here as me. Eagles take on Glenelg. Now, the Eagles are at home, so they were in the game on the weekend if you'd like to go that direction. But look, you say it every week, how can you tip against Glenelg? I'll be going with Glenelg in this one.
I can't tip against Glenelg pretty much in any situation at the moment. They're too big, they're too strong, and they're absolutely red hot. There's a lot going on in the Eagles as well, so yeah, I'm going to agree with this one as well. Base for me.
So Glenelg for the both of us there. West Adelaide take on Norwood at Highsend Stadium. Now, we talk about having something to play for. West Adelaide, they've been much better this season, but if they lose this game, they win the wooden spoon for a 5th consecutive year. So it's not something you would want to do. So there is something on the line for the Bloods there. In saying that, I like Norwood's form. They knocked off Centrals a couple of weeks ago. They were too strong for South Adelaide on the weekend. I think Norwood will win 3 in a row here.
All right, I'm going to go for Westies. And home ground advantage. They've got a squad that's heading in the right direction. They've had several games this year where they've really almost knocked off a contender. And Norwood isn't a contender. And you're right, they've still so much to play for the Redlegs. But I think Westies is building to have a nice finish to the season. And if that's an incentive as well to play for a non-wooden spoon, then that's as important as creeping up the ladder.
And I think for Adam Hartler, they won 3 games last year, West Adelaide. They're currently sitting on 3 wins this year. So for him, in terms of just looking at the numbers, you want to get to that 4 number so you can at least show there's some progress. We know there is, but in terms of win-loss. The last game of the round is Sturt taking on Adelaide. This is at Wigan Oval. So again, Adelaide have been sensational. They've won the last 5 games they've played in, and I think they'll still be too strong here. It will be a close game at Wigan. It brings it back, but I think Adelaide will win this.
Ooh, okay, then I'm going to go with Sturt. I think that's very character building to go out to the Ponderosa when you're in a situation like that and come back and win the game. It's a different world. It's as different world at Wigan Oval as it is out in the Ponderosa.
That's a good point.
So the week after you play out there, they'll be refreshed, they'll be ready to go. They still managed to get a win there. Sturt have had what seems to be a bit of a slim patch in the middle of the season. In saying that, for most of the games, they've still found a way to win. I think they're coming good again.
Yeah, they absolutely are. At the point end of the table. And again, for them, if they win, they still have a chance of finishing in that minor premiership spot, which obviously gives you that extra chance as well come finals time. So 3 different tips there, which will be interesting to see what happens come next weekend. But now it's time for Hazy's Multi.
All right, time now to responsibly, of course, make some money thanks to our good mates at Top Sports. All right, 3-leg multi. I've got 2 pretty reasonably obvious ones here and then one that's really going to kick out and earn you some money. First of all, I've got Port to beat South. We talked about this before, men's. Port are going to be too strong. Going to have too many listed AFL players come back into the system. Next leg is going to be Glenelg to beat the Eagles because Glenelg are pretty much just too good in any situation for anyone at the moment. And the last one, this is where we'll make you some money responsibly. I've got Sturt to beat Adelaide at Wigan Oval.
Yeah, so you've learned from last week's mistakes of picking South last week in the multi, they let you down, so you backed Port to beat them this week.
Yes.
And you also learned from picking Centrals last week in the multi, they lost to Sturt, so you've gone with Sturt this week. So you're backing the teams in that knocked you off last week.
Pretty much. I've learnt a lot in the space of 1 week. And in saying that, we do like to take it 1 week at a time. So best of luck to those teams and best of luck if you're having a bit of a flutter this weekend.